The little girl was walking in the rain with an orange umbrella, but suddenly a pair of big feet blocked her way. The guy takes a step forward and the girl is scared and backs away, but eventually the girl was dragged deeper into the alley. By now, the girl was already bruised and battered. Luckily, with her last ounce of strength, she dialed for help. Immediately after, her father received a call from the police and was informed of her critical condition. Soon her mother arrived at the hospital door, but she still didn't want to believe it and prayed that the police had contacted the wrong family. When the mother opened the curtain, she froze. The girl was covered in blood. It was unbearable to look at her. The mother fell to the ground, not knowing what to do. The father looked on with pain in his eyes but never shed a tear. In the midst of the mother's sobbing and crying, the girl was pushed into the operating room. Until halfway through the operation, the mother was still blaming herself. If only she had been able to send her daughter to school in the morning, none of this would have happened. And as a father, he had to be strong. Then the doctor came out and called the girl's father in, but his eyes were soaked with tears at the sight of his daughter. The daughter's lower body was badly damaged and she needed to have her colon and anus removed. In the face of life and death, the father could only agree to this plan. The bruises on the girl's body are very obvious. Pieces of bloody gauze were piled up into a mountain. No one knows what the girl went through. The mother inquired about the operation, but the father took his beloved into his chest. Even though her daughter survived, the mother still wept. Looking through the window, she saw her daughter's condition again. The pain and guilt washed over her and she couldn't bear it. After the mother left, the father quietly entered the ward. He held his daughter's hand and the girl woke up, but the girl was still concerned about her father's work. It's the same as when she called the police after the accident. She was worried that her father was busy with his work. That's why she didn't call him. The father was shocked to hear that his daughter was so understanding, but he forced a smile in front of his daughter. Immediately after, the girl said in a weak voice the characteristics of the bad guy and asked the father to catch this change of person. The girl agreed to go to bed only after the father's assurance. He couldn't understand why his daughter, who was so sensible, had to suffer such a bad fate. When the police found the suspect, the father rushed to the police station, but because of the lack of evidence, the police can't arrest him yet. The young cop was full of rules and regulations to stall his father. The old cop came up with a solution, but it required the girl to testify. This is definitely pulling the child back into the abyss. The mother refused, but the father couldn't resist. After all, he promised his daughter he'd catch the bad guy. The psychologist called out to the girl, but her eyes were closed. Moving her head up and down was the only way she could communicate with the outside world. Luckily, the psychologist was able to wake her up with a song. She was conscious and the identification of the murderer started smoothly. The girl kept looking out the window with a plea for help in her eyes. Only after her father nodded did the girl start answering questions. Each photo was turned over in front of the girl, until the girl closed her eyes tightly and the pain of hell returned. And to make sure, they forced the girl to describe the bad guys. In the midst of this unimaginable pain, the girl was asked to identify herself twice. The suspect's photo was laid flat and the girl's bloodstained finger pointed to it, but no one could understand the pain. With the girl's identification, the police made an arrest. The father rushed to the police station when he heard that the suspect had been arrested. He broke through the crowd of reporters but ignored the tongue that was killing him. When he reacted, the reporters surrounded him. If the police hadn't stopped him, he'd have been swamped by reporters. The girl's case was on the news and everyone was heartbroken. And as neighbors and friends, the family felt the same. At that moment, the father received a phone call and realized that his daughter's situation was critical. Looking at the reporters who were reporting on the incident, he ran back to the hospital like a madman. And the people in the ward also discussed at this time. The parents hurriedly pushed the girl out. When they got to the door, they ran into a reporter. The lift could not go up. The father could only carry the girl in his arms. But even so, the reporters found them. The mother and the nurse stopped them at the stairs. The father rushed to run upstairs with the girl in his arms. At that moment,